Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for being with us. To Bernie Sanders' point there, why isn't it time just to move on and do this with just Democrats?
Well, the president feels strongly that we should seek to do this in a bipartisan manner, not at any cost. As he often says, inaction is not an option. And, there's a real sense of urgency to move quickly. But we've been having, I think, productive and honest, frank conversations with at least one group of Republican senators who put forward their idea. Of course, we started out very far apart. We've moved closer. As a matter of fact, we've moved $500 billion from what the president originally proposed in their direction. But there is still a lot of daylight between us. That's how negotiations work. We want to continue speaking with them. We'll see what they come back with and whether we have something we can work with or not.
You budged. They didn't. Doesn't that tell you where it's going?
Well, their original plan put forward something that was probably different than what they would have done in a business as usual context, but in our view, not nearly enough. It was about 1/10 of what we were proposing if you really line it up in apples to apples terms. But the way a negotiation works is you look at what you could do a little bit differently, and we looked at a different scope. We looked at moving some of the numbers closer to them, and that's how we got that move of about $500 billion. It's with them. We'll see what they come back with. But again, we've really not had a lot of fundamental red lines on our side, except two. One, of course, that the president's not willing to raise taxes on people making less than $400,000. And the other that we've got to do something, that time is of the essence, and this can't go on forever.
Well, but it has been going on. And there was a sense that Memorial Day was the time where you would make a decision about whether or not the Republicans were serious in negotiating with you, whether you had to move on. I put this question to Congressman Tim Ryan last week, which is that if Republicans aren't going to get on board with a bipartisan commission to investigate January 6th, which a lot of people consider to be low-hanging fruit, right? Equal representation there, something that in theory you would think that both parties should be able to get on board with. If they're not going to agree on that, what makes you think you're going to get them on board with major bills like infrastructure?
Well, the thing I've noticed about infrastructure is that every member, no matter where they're from, no matter their ideology, they go home to a district or a home state where their constituents are telling them, hey, the road I'm taking to work is full of holes. The bridge is out. This airport is nowhere near the standard of the best airports in the world. Our port needs to be deep. And people are seeing and feeling the need for better infrastructure, both the traditional kind of infrastructure, and people are feeling the pain around our lack of proper elder care in this country, not having broadband everywhere it needs to be, lead pipes threatening children. So it's one of these issues that I think can go beyond the partisan and ideological mess that has really limited what Congress can do. Or I'll put it another way. If there's any area of domestic policy where we could do something together, I've got to think this is that area.
You might be wearing road-colored glasses here, pun intended, at this point. Is Memorial Day a deadline at this point? Are you willing to talk after that, or are you done talking there?
We continue to think there needs to be major progress by Memorial Day. Now, we get that this is a process, right? There needs to be not only a negotiation, but then bills need to be sent through, marked up. They need to go to conference. It needs to be signed by the president. All that's not going to happen by Memorial Day. But, we really need to get this done this summer, which is why we continue to want to see, even just in the few days between now and the holiday, some real progress if we're going to pursue this path.
You are Transportation Secretary, which is roads and bridges. It's also airplanes. There was an airplane in Europe over Belarus that was guided down, forced to land by fighter jets. The Belarusian dictator, Lukashenko, ordered this passenger plane with more than 100 people on board down. A dissident was removed from that plane. What message does that send to the world if a commercial airliner can be taken down, forced to land on the whims of a dictator?
Yeah, we're extremely concerned about this, and the Secretary of State has called for this to be fully investigated and for a convening of a body called ICAO. It's not an organization I think most Americans have heard of or think about, but it might be compared to the UN. In fact, it's part of that organization for air travel. It's the International Civil Aeronautics Organization. So there's a call for a convening of that body, a call for more of the facts to understand exactly what happened, and extreme concern, not only because of how it impacted U.S. citizens on board, but just because of the basic norms that we expect. Never mind politics, never mind what's going on the ground, that what's going on in the air is safe for any civilian aircraft flying through any airspace.
As Transportation Secretary, do you feel that U.S.-based airlines are safe flying over Belarus this morning?
Well, that's exactly what needs to be assessed right now, and we and both in terms of the international bodies we're part of, and as an administration with the FAA are looking at that, because the main reason my department exists is safety, and we've got to make sure that American citizens and everybody using the national airspace and on airlines that we relate to will know that they are safe.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.